Movie Time is produced by John DeSando. Listen to the full shows and read reviews online at WCBE.org.
I'm John DeSando.
I'm Hope Madden.
This is It's Movie Time. And today, we're going to go to Stockholm.
Okay.
Now, there are not too many things I know about Stockholm, but I have heard of the syndrome.
That's right. What a fascinating story. So this is the film Stockholm tells the story of where that term comes from.
Yeah.
The Stockholm Syndrome.
Yeah.
And I had no idea. And I tried to find some more details about the event online because you never know what sort of liberties the narrative takes. But because it's an absurd story and fascinatingly told, I think.
Yes. As a matter of fact, from what I understand, they have been liberal with it.
Yeah.
However,
Right.
the basic idea, it was a 1973.
Mm-hmm.
It was a heist at the Stockholm bank.
Right.
And for the purpose, very much like Dog Day Afternoon.
Right.
A purpose different from what you would have expected. Some money, but Ethan Hawke's character, Lars, tries to spring, or wants to spring, his buddy out of prison.
Right. Played by Mark Strong, who's always great.
Oh, isn't he good?
He is. He's just good in everything. He's one of those that guys. He's always good.
And not enough of them in this film.
No, I agree with you. Because he makes a great counterpoint. Ethan Hawke's character is a bit of a doofus. He's very likable, which is important, right? And I think Mark Strong, there's a tenderness and also like a curiosity to his performance that is a great level-headed counterpoint.
And that's a great point because otherwise it is totally absurd.
Yeah, it is.
But with Strong there in that role, kind of moderating Ethan Hawke's craze.
Right.
I mean, he's dressed like Dennis Hopper. No, I guess it's like he's dressed like Easy Rider.
Right. Well, he's got the hair
Peter
of Dennis
Fonda.
Hopper, but he's got the jacket of Peter Fonda.
Peter Fonda, right, yeah.
I mean, he's a big fan of Bob Dylan. They play so much Dylan in this movie, and it's nice. I mean, they put it together really well. And then the other lead is Noomi Rapace, who I loved the original Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, and that's who she is. She plays Lisbeth Salander in the original, and she just hasn't hit that threshold again, and I feel like in a lot of cases she struggled with English language films a little bit, but I thought that she was really comfortable and very quietly powerful in this movie, and really the anchor for the film as one of the hostages who in the end sides with her captors. And in reality, the true story is all three of the hostages refused to testify against their captors.
And that's all a part of the syndrome, which doesn't have to be just about a bank heist.
No, right.
The syndrome you can have a domestic situation where it's that kind of a syndrome, but it works very well with this. And I agree she plays this completely different from her tough-ass previous roles.
Right.
And to the extent for me that I did not quite understand her attraction to him. I mean, I understand that he's kooky enough and different enough from her husband, for instance, for her to see something in him. But, I mean, the film is always going to be limited.
Yeah.
I'm never going to be satisfied.
Right.
Why would she like this goofball?
Well, I also felt like, I think that the supporting cast, the cast basically, the police officers, I think the performances were really good and very human and to a degree comical. I think there's a comedic element to this film that really suits it, but I also felt led to, because by the end of the film you take the side of the hostages. You prefer the captors over the police, and not in a really heavy-handed way. I don't think they vilify the police, but I felt manipulated.
I liked Chief Mattson.
Yeah.
a tough guy in an impossible situation.
Absolutely.
What are you going to, even the Prime Minister?
Yeah.
How are you going to handle this?
Right.
That was one of the good things of the film for me, was I put myself in their place and said, okay, John, what would you do?
Right.
And I'm not sure I would know better.
No.
I mean, Hawke's character has a gun. He's got a machine gun. He's got a regular gun. He's clearly not balanced as a human being.
True.
And so how are you going to handle that? So I thought that worked very well. I keep looking back at Dog Day Afternoon, which is another daylight heist.
Yep.
And I think of how brilliant Al Pacino was in that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, the whole film.
Oh,
You know, I
yes.
mean, you know, and there's so much. It's funny because that makes this film seem really understated.
Yes.
You know, that
yes.
movie was so powerful and such a gut punch in different ways and so unusual. And it does kind of make this one seem a little slight, I
Yes.
guess.
Yeah. But this one has its comedic touches
Does.
that Pacino's film did not have. I mean, in the end, Pacino's film devolves into very serious domestic problems and serious problems with
Yes.
the heist gone wrong.
Oh, sure.
But this one has like his the Hawk's affection for Bullet.
Yes, well, and both of them. Yeah, it is. You leave you finish the film going, I need to rewatch Bullet. That is a great movie.
He asks for a replica of the car,
car.
that Steve McQueen used, and Mattson says, yeah, I like that movie.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're right. There is it's a challenge whether you call it a comedy, a drama,
Right.
a thriller.
Right.
You know, I think you're right. I was beginning to think it really was a comedy, but there's something very serious underneath.
Definitely, yeah. No, I do think, and certainly Noomi Rapace's character keeps it grounded in the drama. I think that's unfolding. Right. It just happens that the filmmaker, because human beings are funny. Yeah. You know, and I like when a drama can embrace that, can have some funny moments in it, because life has funny moments in it.
One of the curiosities for me was the depiction of her husband.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt that this was a really complicated little piece of business. You know, how does a husband react? How did you feel?
I thought it was fascinating, and I think it was complicating in a really good way, and I think it gave Noomi Rapace's character depth that she wouldn't have had otherwise. Her husband shows up to try to swap out, say take me instead of her, and makes this very gallant effort, and she's far more interested, weeping even, to make sure that he remembers how to prepare the fish for the kids' dinner. You know, and he's like, get some paper, write this down, and he thinks it's going to be something important, and it's about how to prepare the fish. It's a really odd moment in the film, and I think that it suggests something about their relationship and maybe her dissatisfaction at home that could lead to her interest in this goofball.
Yes. But you see,
captor.
That's the very point I was trying to work to, is that it's not quite so obvious.
Right.
It just seems like, they've got some things to work through here.
Right. Yeah.
But a cheap way of doing it would have him a complete dumbbell.
Exactly. And the same way they represent, I think, the police.
Yes.
Obviously what they're hoping is that we, the audience, believe. We understand why the captors have Stockholm Syndrome. I think that's kind of the purpose of the film. But I love that they don't really vilify the police force, and they don't vilify this man. Nothing is one-dimensional in this movie, and I really appreciated that.
In the end, Hope, I'm not sure I understand the Stockholm Syndrome any better than I did on just a thumbnail of it.
Sure.
I think what we have is an eccentric film. Based upon the idea of it. I'm not even sure psychologists use that in their practice. I'm not even sure that has become fully cemented into the canon of psychologists.
Well,
I don't know
either.
I mean, it just seems to me that it's kind of an easy way of describing something that is very difficult to understand. But at least it puts us there. So you ask the question, now what would I do?
Yeah.
And would I side with my captors?
Right.
Ooh, there's a good question.
Yeah.
All right, Hope Madden, you and I have had fun with this as we always do. It's the film is called Stockholm, and it stars Ethan Hawke. And what grade would you award it?
I think I'd give it a B+.
All right, and I think I will give it a B, only because I want more. But that's not a bad thing, is it?
No, I don't think it is.
Okay. Good.